Hey everybody, Sam here and welcome back to Samcraft. Welcome to an unplanned video. This one is going to be answering the most common questions that I've had in regards to my workshop build so far. This video is going to be rather short and sweet, pretty much to the point, and answer the questions that I have been asked over and over and over that you yourself might be wondering too. By far, the number one question I've gotten asked so far is, why is your workshop floor so high off the ground? What in the world? The reason for this answers another question that I get a lot as far as, will you connect the two workshops in the future? The answer to that one is yes. And that also answers the reason my floor is so tall. Whenever I designed this workshop, I knew that I wanted to connect it, either 100% physically connect it the full width, or connect it with a tunnel or deck or something to my existing current workshop. With that goal in mind, I also tried my best and found a way to make this new workshop on the exact same plane as my existing one. I didn't want to connect these two with a ramp, with some steps, or them not be really close floor height wise, because I plan to have the ability, or I want to have the ability, to roll equipment from one shop to the other. If I have a large customer orders, a big order going out of this shop, be able to roll it through onto the front and then to our driveway, which is right in front of my current workshop. So with a bit of head scratching, I was able to come up with a foundation, beam, and floor system that gets me at that point. Thank goodness. With this point established, it then was a matter of keeping the floor level all the way out for the size of my workshop. It's a little bit difficult to tell on camera, but this property right here where we are does slope that way. So the front corner of my workshop here, closest to my current one and the carport that I'm under right now, is about 12 inches off the ground. Down at the other corner, it's about 36 inches off the ground. So I have a 2-foot difference in grade or elevation of the ground. So with that difference in grade is why the workshop is really tall on one end and maybe not so much on the other. This leads us into the other very common question that I've gotten, and that is, Sam, why did you not do a concrete slab? Wouldn't it have been cheaper or easier just to have a concrete slab poured? So this one can be answered pretty easily for me. Would it be cheaper? No, because concrete is very expensive, and to either pour a slab that is 3 feet tall at the back, or build this up a foot up here, 2 feet in the back with engineered substrate and soil to properly compact down to have a slab on top and ensure that slab doesn't settle and crack, that wouldn't be cheap. It would be possible. I'm not going to say it's not possible, but it definitely would not be cheap. And then to address, wouldn't it be easier to do concrete? I guess it would, in the fact of I don't have the skills to pour a 20 by 32 foot slab. I don't have the equipment to bring in the fill dirt and compact it and everything. So it would be easier, but the easy way out gets negated by the cost. I don't know how much it would be for something like this, but I imagine it would be outrageous. Next question that I get a lot is, will I insulate the floor, or why did I not insulate it before I put down my plywood? Answer to that question number one, will I insulate it? Yes, I will, eventually. Number two, why didn't I put the insulation in as I built the floor? That is because this is an open to the air construction site. We have rain regularly coming through the area, and any water that falls on that floor is going to seep into that insulation and completely negate the function of said insulation. Once fiberglass insulation gets wet, it loses its R value properties and becomes useless. In addition to that, it would also just mold, mildew, rot, and be a haven for mold growth in my brand new shop. And that is not good. So I'm going to treat this as I would if this was a home build. Homes are always framed up, dried in, and weather tight first. Then you do your mechanicals, your electricals, and then you insulate. I'm going to be doing the same thing with my workshop. I'm going to continue building my walls, my roof structure, get it weathered in, dry, nice and tight, then do my rough electrical, then I will insulate. At that point, I will possibly insulate the floor, or I may wait a little bit more just to try and get this project knocked out before the true dead of winter starts, and I'll also keep things as low in the budget as possible, but it is on my list to do. Another common question is in regards to vapor barriers. Some have asked, was it not required to put it down? Why didn't you do it? And stuff like that. I just lump it in with my floor insulation, and I may or may not do it. This is an elevated floor build, and there is quite a bit of airspace underneath the shop between the ground and the beginnings of my floor framing. This is also an area where there is a nice airflow, there is wind blowing regularly, and there's not a lot of chances for stagnant moisture and air to be trapped underneath the floor. In addition to that, whenever I graded my work site, I put in the perimeter ditch all the way around the workshop area, and it has kept absolutely every bit of water from the sky, from the roofs and everything, surface water, from getting anywhere near underneath that workshop. This is also a very dry area and not one that is low. The water doesn't seep into this area, and it has great drainage. I'm not saying that I absolutely won't do a vapor barrier, but right now I'm not seeing a really big need for one. But the beauty of this elevated workshop floor is that if I have a problem and I see I need one, I can very easily add one in the future. So I'm not really pinning myself or painting myself in a corner with a problem that I can't come up with a solution later on down the road. This question is one that only a couple of people have asked, but I really liked it and I wanted to talk about it for a second, especially because you're going to see this put into place in my next video. The question was, how far in advance have I planned this workshop? Do I have blueprints that I'm going off of? Have I designed everything out, or am I just winging it? To be honest, up until this point, from site grading, foundation, beams, floor framing, and the flooring, I was largely just building it from what's in my head. I knew my dimensions, I knew my spans for the foundation, and I just went with that. I didn't need to have a blueprint for this kind of build so far. However, as we get into the wall framing, that totally changes. I did not want to just be guessing and being inefficient with my wall framing. I also have windows and doors to plan around, so I know that planning out my workshop would pay me back and be worth it. So what you guys are seeing is the product of my planning. This is built within SketchUp, which is an online CAD program. I have the wall framing done, the floor I also built, the foundation I built below those, and then my roof trusses and the roof sheathing. This doesn't get into super nitty-gritty details because honestly I just needed it for the wall framing, but I figured while I was here, why not? Let's go ahead and build out the rest of it so I can make sure the quantities I have in my head as far as materials are correct, and also get a game plan of how everything's going to line up to make this project as easy as possible for me to complete. So there you have it, guys. There's the most commonly asked questions that I've gotten. If you had those questions, hopefully I answered them correctly and you are good. You have been answered, or at least understand my method, or my madness, I think. My madness to the method. I don't know. Hopefully it was helpful. If you guys have any other questions or these answers created questions, leave me a comment down below. I'll do my best to answer them however I can. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed seeing the build progress so far as much as I have enjoyed building it. This is hands down one of my most favorite projects that I've done, mostly because it's working out good. Wow, that was a big jinx, wasn't it? Well, I've already said it. Things are going smooth and it's really nice. It also helps that this is like a ginormous workshop and one that I never would have thought had been possible to build, and it's pretty awesome to see that it actually is happening. So that concludes this quick little down and dirty video. Coming up next will be wall framing, so if you are looking forward to that, keep looking. It's coming up next. It won't be very far behind this video. Like I said when I started, this was an impromptu video I decided to make to answer questions, and hopefully I got you covered. That being said, take care, and I'll see you guys next time in the workshop.